So we're going to dive in and talk about Beau's training so we can stay consistent at home. So we're going to first talk about the remote collar, how to turn it on, how to use it, and then we're going to go throughout all of his commands and also how to use the prong collar. So first things first, on the remote collar, the collar that you put on Beau, we look at the front here and we see a little red dot. That's not a button, it is a magnet. So the key to this magnet to turn it on is actually on the remote. So you'll turn them on separately. So to turn on the collar itself, you are going to touch the red dot that's on the collar to the red dot that's on the remote. They are magnetic keys, and this is how we turn the collar on. So it's buttonless, it's just a touch. So we're going to touch it together. You'll see a green light. The green light means it's on, charged, ready to go. So the remote turns on separately. How we turn on the remote, there's a big button on the back with an L in it. We're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. So we see the screen is on, and we see that the screen has the number 50 on it. So 50 is a very high correction level. This is one of the highest levels I've ever given to a dog, and really Beau still doesn't seem to mind it that much. So I really don't want to go much higher because I don't want to run out of levels. Even though this collar has 100 levels, I really want to work on still, you know, going over the commands and making sure that we practice with Beau in a way that he understands what our expectations are. So we are going to use the black S button to correct Beau. So when this goes on Beau, it's going to fit pretty snug so that the contact points make good connection with his skin. Whenever we give a command, Beau has an option to either listen and get a treat and praise petting, mostly a treat because praise and petting gets him so excited that he'll end up breaking the command that you ask him. So I suggest sticking with treats for now, and then as he calms down when he gets older, maybe then use praise and petting as a reward. If he doesn't do the command, we're going to mark the incorrect behavior with a no and then push the black S button. And you'll see on the collar that it gives a stimulation. This is going to correct Beau whatever he's doing incorrectly. So let's say, for example, heel. Heel means walk next to me on a loose leash. So we have two ways to communicate with him to correct him, and then we're also going to reward him when he makes the right choice, of course. So when we tell him heel, heel means walk next to me on a loose leash. No tension on the leash at all on the left-hand side. So if he tries to pull ahead, or for example, he gets really excited when he sees cars, if he tries to go towards the cars or anything, we are going to say no, push the button, and tell him heel. What we're also going to do along with that, when we say no and push the button, we're also going to tug and release the leash in a very firm and fast pop and release the leash. What this is going to do is it's going to add a secondary correction to get Beau's attention and to guide him back to where he needs to be. So for example, if he's walking too far ahead of us, no, pop the leash backwards a little bit, up and backwards. That way we can still communicate with him with the leash, and Beau's the type of dog that just needs both right now. Hopefully in the future we'll just be able to communicate with one or the other, but right now he does require both to get the point across. So we have no, give the correction, repeat the command. That is the sequence for all the commands on how you're going to correct him if he doesn't do it correctly or if he breaks the command. Breaking the command means just getting up from it or stopping the command before you said free or okay. So that would be breaking the command. So we have heel, then we have sit. So when we stop walking, to go back real quick, 90% of his walk should be in the heel position. The other 10% can be sniffing, going to the bathroom, exploring. Where he's in a heel, we tell him free. That's when he can go sniff and do his business and kind of explore. But then we go back to heel because we don't want the majority of the walk for him to be just walking around. We want it to be nice and structured. That will promote him to make good choices, especially around vehicles, cars, people, distractions. So heel for majority of the time, free for 10%. Then we have sit. Sit means stay until he's told free. So when you stop, automatically ask him to sit. If you do this enough, he will begin to automatically sit when you stop. But again, Beau's kind of hard-headed, so we want to make sure that we ask him each time because I don't think he'll just do it on his own very often. I think he'll need that extra reminder. So when you stop, tell him sit. If he does, good sit, good boy, awesome. If not, no, correction. With the remote collar, pop the leash, sit. It's no, give the correction, repeat the command. Sit means stay until he's told free, so keep that in mind. If he gets up before you say free or heel, no, correction, sit. And then we have at the doorways, have him sit, open the door, and then heel through the doorway together. That way he doesn't just bolt outside. Then we have down stay. Down means lay down and stay. Stay is implied. You do not have to say stay because down stay is implied until he's told free. So you put him in a down, you remind him down when you go to walk away or if a distraction walks by. So you give him the verbal command to do the command one time. If he does, great, treats. If not, no, correction, down. But then we give him reminders throughout the down stay. So you'll see that in the video. I remind him a few times with just a simple verbal down to make sure he understands, hey, even though I'm moving around, I want you to stay in the down position. We always go back to him to release him from the down. So we say, good down, praise, pet, treats, whatever, and then we tell him free. That is the command to free. You can get up from the down stay, and then I can either tell him heel or just let him be free and sniff around. Then we have place. So place is very similar. You're going to put him on the elevated bed or boundary when guests come over. That way it's going to help him get not so excited, help him understand, okay, I stay here, I get treats if I'm calm, I don't jump on the guests. That's going to promote good behavior when people come over or when you need him to chill in the house, when you're cooking or cleaning or doing anything like that. Make sure to put him on place. When we reward place, we put the treat on the bed. We do not free from a distance, just like the downstay. We always go back to Beau. Good place, reward. I always put the reward on the bed so he knows the bed produces the reward. And then we tell him free when we're really close to him and kind of guiding him off the bed like he's a mime in a box. We open the door and we tell him free so he can get off of the place command. Next we have come when called. And with all of those, again, if he breaks the command, if he gets off of place, gets up from down, no, correction, down, no, correction, place, whatever command you were practicing. And then of course reward when he does it correctly. Then we have come when called. So it's not put him in a sit, back up, and then call him to us. We want to use more practical, realistic style come when called. So we tell him free, we have him go sniff, get distracted by something. Then we say come in a firm, loud tone. As he runs to us, we praise him because we're rewarding the action in the moment of him running to us. Then when he finally gets to us, have him sit, give the physical treat reward, good boy, good job, free. So we always reward come when called because that is a super important command, and we want to build a reward history with Beau with all of the commands, but especially come when called. What a reward history is it's Beau getting a positive feedback for doing a certain behavior over and over again, so then he ends up just liking the behavior itself because he's gotten such a positive association with it. So you need to create a reward history with all of the commands, but especially come when called. And then we have leave it. Don't grab that off the floor. So practice by dropping dog safe foods, cheese, ham, hot dogs, tell him leave it, and if he continues to go for it, leave it. So that's how you're going to correct that. If he continues to go for whatever object you just dropped, leave it. Practice with the leash on first because he's going to test the limits, right? That's why we have these tools and equipment, because if he decides to test the boundaries, we can correct him and say, no, even though this isn't the training center, we still have to follow the rules at home. So that's how you're going to follow through and create a nice set of boundaries for him. And also he can have fun and play and all of that, but he does have to listen to the rules. So it's a nice balance of you listen to the rules, you get treats, playtime, fun. If not, correction. So we encourage behaviors by rewarding them and decrease the rate of behaviors or discourage behaviors by correcting them. So you really want to stay consistent with Beau. You really want to stay on top of his remote collars and everything because he's just a fun dog, but he just doesn't really, he's not a people pleaser. He's just, I'm going to do this. If I get a correction, oh well, it doesn't faze him like it would other dogs. So we just have to make sure we're really consistent and that he understands there's both rewards for doing the right thing and corrections for not. So that's all the commands, and then we have free, which is just free from the command. So he's not in anything in that moment. So heel, sit, stay, down, stay, place, stay, come when called, leave it, and free. And then of course you have no, and then good boy for praise and petting. So that's the rundown on his training equipment. We're going to go over the rest of the details at the end of the video. That way you can go over all the other features. But now we're going to show you Bose commands. Down. Good, down. 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 Good, down. Good, down. 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 Nope. Down. Good. Oh, I know. Free. Good job. Leave it. Good boy. Free? Okay. Okay. There you go. Good boy. Free. Leave it. Good boy. Very good. Okay. Okay. Good job. Good job. That was very good. Good job. You didn't see that one, so it doesn't count. Free. Leave it. Good boy. Very nice. That was such a good boy. Okay. Right there. There you go. Good job. Go to place. Free place. There you go. Boy, place. Boy. All right, so let's go over the other features of the remote collar. So we know how to turn it on, but let's turn it off. So it's flashing green, letting you know it's on, charged, ready to go. To turn the collar off at the end of the day, we are going to touch the two red dots together. Red light, off, done, good to go. This will last about 2 days on a charge, so you can charge it every other night or so. I wouldn't leave it on the charger all night because then you're gonna kind of eat up the battery. The on-off button on the back, how to turn on the collar, same way to turn it off, push and hold until the screen is dark. So we're going to turn this back on so we can go over all the other features of the remote collar. So we went over the black S button, let's go over the red S button. So I really don't want to use this feature for Beau, but you have it in case you need it. Whenever you're practicing with a command, definitely practice on leash first, especially in a new environment. But let's say he gets off the leash for whatever reason and takes off for the road, and you're like, oh no, we need to get him back, he's not listening, to 50. The red S button will go up to 90, but I do not recommend that at all for him. It's a very, very high level. I do not recommend it. That is for emergencies only. So please do not push that button unless you absolutely have to. Next we have Vibrate is on the side here. The T button is Vibrate. So this does not phase Beau whatsoever. I like to make sure I vibrate the collar to make sure that I turn it on correctly, because sometimes you can just tap and it turns off. So you want to make sure that it's on. So I push vibrate a few times to make sure that I know the collar's on before I put it on Beau, because he can wear this all day, every day, 12 to 14 hours a day, take it off at night, and it's waterproof. So we'll go over that in just a second. So that's Vibrate. Next we have how to turn the dial down when eventually he does not need level 50 anymore to understand the correction. This has happened over time with my personal dogs. They used to need a correction at this level, and now they can get a correction at a much lower level, because that comes with maturity and understanding what the boundaries are. They don't need as much of a correction because, one, they've matured, they're not as distracted by things, and two, they understand the boundaries and the rules, so they're less pushy. So how to do that? This is the dial to turn the collar down or up as needed. Notice how it's not doing anything to the levels. We have to unlock it. To unlock it, we will push down and hold it until the 1D is flashing. Once the 1D is flashing, now we can turn the level down or up as needed. So with Beau, you shouldn't have to turn it up. So we'll turn it back to what it is at. It's at 50. Push down and hold it until the 1D is solid. That way it is locked in place and you don't accidentally turn it up or down mid-training session. On the back, the little button by the on-off button is M/C. It stands for momentary or continuous. He needs momentary right now. Continuous is for a much lower level. Also, the on-off button, if you don't push and hold it to turn off the remote, if you just tap it, it turns the collar into a flashlight so you can see Beau at night. That's a pretty cool feature. So the charging port is on the back. Like I said, it'll last about 2. This might last 3 to 4 days, but I usually just charge this when I charge the remote, or yeah, the collar. The charging port for the collar is on the bottom here. So he can wear this all day, every day, 12 to 14 hours a day, take it off at night. It is waterproof. He can go swimming and he can get wet with it. What I like to do is make sure that the light is facing out. That way, when I turn the flashlight on at night, I can see him. If he gets wet or goes swimming with it on, you can use it. However, you want to take it off once he's done. That way his skin and hair can dry thoroughly, because if moisture gets underneath this collar, it fits so snugly that it could build up bacteria, which could lead to a hot spot. So you want to make sure that you take this off and let his skin breathe. That way you don't have moisture and gunk under there. You want to make sure it airs out. Now, some dogs are a little sensitive to the collar, so what I like to do, like with Beau's breed, he has sensitive skin, is move the collar from one side to the other every few days. That way we don't have just one spot with always the pressure on it from the connectors. So we put it on one side and then the other, but I do always recommend it's somewhere under his chin. And then the prong collar, how to put it on and take it off. We're going to slide the prong down and pop it out like that, and then squeeze the two. So this is about technique, not strength. You can use any of the prongs in the center. So you hold one steady. Hold one steady. I like to use my right hand to hold it steady, and then my left thumb, it's going to follow it almost parallel, and I'm going to push down and just keep pushing pressure down and this way. Then to put it together, you have to squeeze it to slide it back together like so. We always attach the leash to the D ring, which is the ring with the flat side, and it also rotates. So this is where the leash will attach to, not the circle. That way, when it's on him, it can be a simple tug and release. Inside the box here, we have his charger that can charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. We have extender prongs. He doesn't have long hair, so you don't have to worry about these, but you do have the tool to change them out if needed, to tighten these prongs down. You shouldn't have to do that, but you have the tool in here if needed. And then you also have the instruction manual to go over all the buttons in greater detail. And, oops, the original strap that came with the collar. I put them in an upgrade and put the quick snap on, just because it's much easier to put this on and take this off than messing with the belt buckle every time. So that is pretty much it for the rest of the details of the remote collar. Again, you want to stay consistent. Use a leash, especially in a new environment whenever you're working with him. That way you can guide him with the leash as well as using the remote collar. Make sure to reward the behaviors you want to keep seeing and correct the behaviors you don't. That way you can stay consistent. Keep working with him. He's a really good dog. He just needs a lot of guidance right now, and that could be based on age and breed. He's a lot of fun, but he is a little bit hard-headed. So have fun with him. Stay consistent. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you later.